Good evening. This is again Dr. Galisa, wherein we have the subjects of ethics. So we are already in the blog 8. So we are going to discuss chapter 4, wherein this is about the definitions of human acts and responsibility. When we talk of human acts is defined as an act done with full knowledge and full deliberations. And any act done without full knowledge and full deliberations is called an act of man. So without deliberations or knowledge is an act of man only. But a human act expected is with knowledge and deliberation. So ang ibig sabihin nito ay ang human acts ay yung may standard na dapat sundin sa tamang pag-uugali. While the act of man, that this depends only on the personality of the person. That is an act of man. So, when we talk of responsibility, this means we are accountable. We are obligated to face these accountability responsibilities. Ika nga. So the degree of responsibilities of a person this depends on the knowledge of the person and deliberations. So that is very important that we need to go back to school to learn so that we will not grow up to become ignorant. We need to go back to school to learn every steps of life because life is not easy. Without this knowledge, we don't have the way to understand what is life is. So there are factors of this responsibility that causes our ways. Number one example, letter A is ignorance. There are many people who seem to be ignorant because first, they lack knowledge. So they are not aware that what they are doing now is wrong. So hindi na sila aware na ang ginagawa pala nila ay mali. Kasi kulang sila sa kakayahan para pag-aralan itong mga tamang pag-uugali or tamang behavior. And we have two kinds of ignorance. We have what we call vincible. Ignorance is the absence of knowledge which due diligence can dispel. So, we have three kinds of vincible ignorance. Example, we have what we call supine or gross ignorance. Occurs when scarcely any effort has been exerted. Crass ignorance occurs in a person who was quote, know but does not. Example, in the supreme or gross ignorance is example. He is not aware of the time, the date, or months. That is vincible ignorance. So, the invisible ignorance naman is example, a person is not knowledgeable of computer because during their time, like me, I'm not also that well versed of computer because during our time there's no computer yet. So another example of invisible naman is in the church law they are not aware that cousins are not supposed to get married. Yun ang sample. So in the ignorance, there are some people, lalo sa gross ignorance is, there are some people that their ignorance will already their excuses. Ginagawa na lang nila itong excuses. Okay, letter B naman is we have the what we call civil versus moral responsibility. When we talk of civil, example, no one is excuses. Example, we need to pay our taxes. If we are ignorant that I don't know that there is taxes, we don't need to. So nobody's excuses when it comes to civil. Everybody's obligated. So ignorance of law of taxes excuses no one. So pwede tayong makulong dito o magmulta if we don't pay our taxes. Yun ang example naman ng civil. When it comes naman to moral responsibility, ang example naman nito ay this has something to do with the law of God. So if we are ignorant that, for example, we go along with married men, if we are ignorant of this, that there is a law na bawal ang makikiapid, bawal ang ang sumasama sa mga married men, ganun. Hindi natin alam that this is also a part of ignorance of law of God. But we are not aware that we are already committing sins in this. Letter C is concupiscence. Sabi, we have the two kinds of, it is the antecedent and the consequence. So, in the antecedent, it is a characteristic of an act that arises without command of the will. Without command of the will. So, example, when a man wants to bring a woman to a hotel with consent, so, ang tawag dun is antecedent. Kasi, parang yung ginawa niya, parang hindi mali. Kasi mayroon namang consent yung girl. Pero pag with consequent concupiscence means it's just an act of a man na ni-rape niya yung babae without the consent. That is another. So, a person is accountable, full responsible of his act. Ibig sabihin, sasagutin niya ang kanyang ginawa. Because, wala nga consent. Ginawa lang niya ito dahil sa desire niyang i-rape o gawin yung isang bagay na hindi maganda sa babae. So, yun naman ang consequence. And then, letter D is we have also fear. Example, the person has fear to somebody na inutusan lang siyang nakawin ng isang bagay. Kung hindi siya susunod, malalagot ang kanyang pamilya. May mga ganung sitwasyon. So, because of the fear, sa takot niya, sumusunod lang siya. So, therefore, wala siyang freedom kung hindi ang sumunod. And then letter E is also violence. Ganito din yan, example. Sa violence naman, example, may teller. Then yung president, pilit niyang pinapabukas yung yung vault. Kahit ayaw ng teller, kung yung president nakatutok sa kanyang baril, the gun was there, napipilitan siyang gawin yung act niya. So, he is not full responsible of his act because ginawa lang niya ito dahil sa nananakit na yung boss niya para buksan ang vault. And then, we have another is freedom. F is freedom. Everybody should have given the freedom to choose which of which, alin ba ang dapat gawin, ano bang tama. But freedom is also very dangerous. So freedom is a choice. But this is also very dangerous if we don't understand where is the limit of our freedom. So, dapat alam natin kung hanggang saan ang limit ng ating freedom. Hanggang saan ang dapat nating gawin. And it's not because that we have the freedom that we do all the things that we want to do. So, in freedom, still, we are accountable. We are accountable in deciding. Example, how you wish to buy a cassette. Magkano yung cassette? Example, 5,000. May stages yan na gusto mong bilhin. Nag-iisip ka kung bibilhin mo o hindi. Pag binili ko naman ito, ano naman ang anong matitira na budget ko para sa pagkain ng aking pamilya? So dito, nag-iisip ka ng paraan. Ano kaya? Bibilhin ko kaya ito o hindi? Will I buy this? If ever I will do this, I will be satisfied. But then, we will not have a budget anymore in terms of food is concerned. So, you have the freedom to make a way. Tatanong mo kung pwede ang installment. Doon, kung okay naman, then you have the freedom to choose if you use the installment basis. Just to satisfy also your needs. Ganun lang kasample lang. Ganun kasimple. So, the act of men, we are the most accountable and responsible of our own actions. And so, therefore, we need to learn a lot of things to determine. We should not be ignorant of the law of God. Yung 10 Commandments, sabi ko nga. We should not be ignorant of the law of our law. Kasi, if ever na magkamali tayo, still tayo pa rin ang responsible at accountable sa ating mga actions. So therefore, it is very important that we should learn more, so that we will not grow up to become ignorant. So man is accountable in every action. Even if we did not go to school, we should know we must have the wisdom, the prudence. We should know what is wrong and what is right. Nowadays, we can see that there are many ways why men misled their life. Andyan ang influence ng drugs, andyan ang influence ng alak, all bad influences nakapaligid. Pero ika nga, are these people, example, nagkamali, nakagawa ng mali, ng crime, because during that time they were in the influence of drugs and liquor? Well, they are not excused in facing the crime. Pag napatay nila yun. Sa cases lang naman ng pagkabaliw, pag napatunayan sa korte na yung tao nakagawa ng crime because wala sa katinuan, but there are many ways also to defend. Kailangan mapatunayan muna na hindi niya nagawa yun during that time na na siya ay mentally disturbed or nawala sa sarili. It's hard to prove. That's why we have the court to determine. Kaya nga kailangan natin ipaglaban ito sa korte. Whatever things is, even criminals were given also the chance also to prove that they are not guilty. So that's the reason why we have the court. Life is not easy. We should not make our ignorance as excuses to our wrongdoings. Kailangan natin ang magbasa, umintindi, makinig, para po tayo po ay huwag nang magkamali. So this is Dr. Galisa. Thank you and good evening.